Looking to buy a home in the Treasure Valley, but worried about the distance from where you live and the details? You're not alone. I specialize in helping out-of-state buyers find their perfect home, so let's discuss how we do it. I just received an email inquiry from a potential buyer in Los Angeles, California. Let's call them Scott and Holly. They found my YouTube channel and are interested in relocating to the Treasure Valley. This is where our journey begins. When someone reaches out, I will typically respond using whatever source they use to reach out to me. Obviously, if you call, there's a strong chance you'll get me on the phone. And if you get my voicemail, leave me a message and I'll phone you back as soon as I'm free. But in this example, Holly emailed, so I emailed her back, answering a few basic questions she had, providing a relocation guide, and asking to set up a time to chat. One thing to note, if you do email me, I typically will respond within 24 hours, even just to say, hi, give me another day or so to reach back out with next steps. So if it's been a few days and you have not heard back from me, please remember to check your junk mail or your spam mail, because sometimes even my emails will end up in there. So Holly left a phone number in her initial email, so I was able to reach out via text to let her know my email response was in her inbox. And after a few quick back and forths via email and text, we set up a Zoom call to dive deeper into their story. And it doesn't have to be a Zoom if you're not comfortable with that. I can just call you, but let's title this step the initial buyer's consultation. So during this early conversation, it's all about understanding motivation, timeline, and most importantly, needs. I want to know why you're making this move. What's driving your decision? And what are your must-haves when you purchase this future home? We'll discuss different areas within the Treasure Valley, from Boise to Meridian, Eagle, and beyond, so that I can get a sense of what neighborhoods might be a good fit. Depending on preferences, whether it's schools, commute, or lifestyle, I help clarify the options that are available. Often a buyer will tell me what their must-haves are, but as we go to break down those motivators, they are really looking for something else. Perhaps a buyer tells me they want acreage because their motivator is space and they want to be away from neighbors. But in the same breath, they'll tell me that they want a sense of community for their kids. So what they really want is a yard that is larger than the small lot that they have now, so their kids can play ball or they can have a bounce house in their backyard. But with preferably mature trees to block out houses nearby so that they have the privacy aspect without the time commitment that acreage would require. I'll also point them to other resources like my relocation guide or specific videos on my channel that provide more context into the local market and different options here. We'll discuss crucial first steps to our home buying journey. If you are in the discovery phase and are still a ways out from making your purchase, we may briefly discuss financing and buyer agency, knowing that a more thorough discussion will be coming as we get closer to your move. But if we are starting an active search now, then we will have these discussions in depth so you're prepared for the next steps. First are your financing options. If you aren't paying cash, we will want to obtain a pre-approval so we know what we're shopping for. We know that we're shopping for the right homes right out of the gate and within your budget. For Scott and Holly, they needed to complete this first step. So I provided them with a list of names of my trusted and vetted lending partners. They could reach out to any or all and compare rates, programs, and personalities to find the right fit for them and who they'd be comfortable working with. So I send them off to do that task to complete. Nothing worse than setting up a search for new buyers only to find out that their true budget is significantly different than what we have been looking at. So definitely a crucial first step. Next comes the buyer representation agreement. So real estate agents around the country have a new rule. We must obtain a buyer representation agreement up front before we can show any properties or open any doors. And honestly, that's even if we're showing the property to you remotely. So it's important that we discuss this at the onset if we're moving into the property tour or preview phase. I realize this may sound intimidating, but I promise working with me is anything but. I take time to explain what buyer agency means for you and various scenarios we may encounter. This agreement helps you understand how I get paid for my services and ensures that you have my full advocacy and expertise on your side throughout your home buying process. The next step is on me to complete, and that's setting up a search based on the criteria that we discussed. So for Holly and Scott, I set up 2 searches. One with the criteria that they had asked for with regards to properties with acreage. Those types of properties are pretty rare, so I knew there wouldn't be a whole lot of options available to us. I also set up a second search that met the criteria they were telling me, but in a slightly different scenario. That's where I made sure we were in a community that had well-established, mature landscaping, sizable lots featuring large backyards. No, they weren't on an acre, but enough space to put in a pool if so desired, or a sports court. Once the search is set up, I reached back out to Holly and Scott and explained that I'd like them to spend the next few days going through these searches. Like the homes that seem interesting, comment on the ones that have things that are an absolute no-go. Because in providing me with that feedback, I'm able to better narrow in on the right homes for them. Go in and adjust criteria and keep my eye open for off-market properties that might fit their scenario. Holly and Scott got their pre-approval, and we have been able to adjust their search criteria a few times to really dial in on properties that appeal to them. So what's next? Well, property tours, of course. And since they had never been to the Treasure Valley, we set up a discovery tour for the valley based on the areas and sites that might interest them. They're avid outdoor enthusiasts, so we added hiking and biking destinations, and then they had schools that they wanted to tour. They are foodies, so we outlined great restaurants across multiple cities for them to try. Depending on how much time a client has when they come to town, they may take a day or 2 exploring on their own up front, or I'll join them for the first day to get them acclimated to the layout of the valley, and then they can explore on their own after. We personalize your visit to whatever schedule makes the most sense for you, because this is your visit after all. If our home search has us spanning the valley, I like to start on one side of the valley and work my way through to the other. So you can get a feel for each area as we progress, but it's also easy to compare as we make our way east to west or vice versa. We ride together, which gives us time to chat about homes, neighborhoods, or any questions that come up along the way. Once Holly and Scott had identified a few properties they liked, we scheduled to preview them again the following day, so they could discuss over dinner that night and we could dive a little deeper into each home. Sometimes the one you like the most on day 1, well, it doesn't look as shiny on day 2, and you find other homes stand out at second glance. This happens all the time, so we definitely revisit if we have the time available. For clients who can't be here in person, I provide virtual tours, high quality photos, and detailed insights into the neighborhoods at home. It's never easy to buy a home sight unseen, but hopefully this makes the process a little easier. And I like to use the 2-visit approach to previewing remotely as well. I will go in and video the home and take photographs, send those off to you via an email with a Dropbox link. After you review the video and have your questions, I will revisit the home again, and this time hopefully with the client on FaceTime, so they can ask questions in real time and we can be sure we are looking at those things that are important to them. Can you measure the wall in the dining room for the credenza? Can you show me the pantry space for storage? Can we walk the garage space for my built-ins? Can you show me the street view so we know what the neighborhood looks like? All these questions you'd be able to answer yourself if you were here in person, but in this case, if you're looking at that remotely, I'm answering them for you. I post homes that I tour and other neighborhood snapshots on my Instagram account, so be sure to check out my Instagram handle at Erica Toffel Real Estate as well if you want daily insight into the Treasure Valley. The homes we look at have supplementary information that goes with them, so as we narrow in on your top choices, we will review property disclosures, and that tells you the history of your home from the seller's perspective. Do they know about leaks or mold or water in the crawl space, age of roof and systems? We will also look at the CC&Rs in case you want chickens, plat maps, and easement information if that's at all applicable to whichever homes you like. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Erica Toffel, Global Real Estate Advisor with Group 1 Sotheby's International Realty. I specialize in helping you relocate to Boise, Idaho, or anywhere in the Treasure Valley. You need help with any of your real estate needs, my information is on the screen. And please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. And if you're watching on your television, you can scan the QR code to contact me directly. Holly and Scott identified a home on their first visit, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it takes multiple visits, whether that is over the course of a few months or even a few years. It all depends on your desired timeline. Well, and sometimes it depends on the house too. If we're holding out for that perfect one, then patience can be a virtue. So great, we've identified the home they want to purchase. What's our next step? Well, that would be reviewing comparable properties, and armed with the information we get from that research and how much time the home has been on the market, that helps us determine and write our competitive offer. But making an offer is more than just setting a price. It's also laying out terms that are right for you, such as the date of the close of escrow, seller concessions, inspection deadlines, contingencies if that's applicable to your purchase. Once our offer is submitted, then negotiations may begin, or they may not. The seller may accept the offer right out of the gate. But if they do not, then we are prepared to negotiate on such factors as price, deposit amount, offer inclusions, like if you want the shelving left in the garage, inspection deadlines, and close of escrow dates. Again, to go back to the buyer representation agreement that we signed early in the process, and that establishes our agency relationship, you know my goal is to get you the best possible terms in this transaction. Whether that means a great price, key repairs, additional credits, or simply finding you your dream home. You know you are covered with regards to advocacy, negotiation, transaction management, and beyond. Once Holly and Scott are under contract, I continue to act as their liaison, from scheduling inspections and reviewing title documents with them to making sure necessary repairs are completed. My team makes sure we hit all of our deadlines, from earnest money due dates to buyer due diligence periods to appraisal deadlines. I'm with them every step of the way. And when it's time to close, I'll be right there with them at the closing table, answering any last minute questions. But that's the thing. Questions aren't just at the last minute. They come up throughout the transaction because, let's face it, buying a home is stressful and you can start to panic over little things. But that's why I'm here. I provide the emotional buffer you may need when it all seems overwhelming. Whether that's tracking down where you go to pick up mailbox keys or which internet provider services your neighborhood. Little things become big things very quickly. But you only need to make one phone call and I'm on it. If I don't know or don't have the answer right away, I'll track it down for you. So what concerns would you have when making an offer and closing on a home? Drop those concerns in the comments below. Let me know what keeps you up at night when considering a home purchase in another state. My work doesn't end at the closing table. I'm still here and available to act as a trusted advisor, whether you need a local recommendation for a dentist or a hairdresser or a plumber, or you're looking for a soccer league for your daughter. My goal is to make sure that you're comfortable and settled in your new home and community, that you are acclimating to the new area, and that you have the support you need to thrive in your new home. For more videos about making the move to Boise, Idaho, or for real estate tips in general, check out one of the other videos on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.